Welcome to the deep dive, where we basically stop pretending reality TV is just this, guilty pleasure thing,
Yeah, exactly. We're going to start analyzing the Bravoverse for what it really is.
which is, let's be honest, a chaotic, sometimes really opulent, but always like super complex field study.
Totally. It's human behavior, it's strategic communication, it's media manipulation,
Yeah.
all rolled into one.
And we've got a huge stack of source material today. We're looking at everything from like the super precise planning of reunion seating in Miami
Which is fascinating, by the way.
to the, well, let's call it controversial, launch of a brand new international franchise over in London.
It really is the ultimate rich text, isn't it? Even critics are starting to admit that now. Our mission today is kind of give you that advanced guide.
Right. We're breaking down the latest dramas, yeah, but also the meta commentary around it. You know, how production strategies and the Housewives' own social games actually shape this whole global reality TV landscape.
And before we even get into the latest stuff, we should touch on this cultural tension around the genre itself. We found this really interesting sociological nugget to start with. Oh yeah, this UK survey, it found that, get this, 54%, like more than half of people in the UK admit they lie about what they watch.
They lie about TV.
Yeah, they pretend they're watching, historical biopics or prestige thrillers.
Stuff to sound smart.
Exactly. To sound smarter or more culturally relevant when actually they're secretly hooked on shows just like The Real Housewives.
And that whole phenomenon, that need to hide it, that's kind of the core of the guilty pleasure idea, right?
Yeah.
But what's so interesting now is that narrative is, well, it's crumbling.
It really is. When you have major cultural figures, even political figures, openly saying, yeah, I watch this stuff, it challenges that whole stigma.
We're talking real intellectual acknowledgement here. You've got critics like John Oliver calling Salt Lake City a masterpiece. He did. A rich text, prestige television. He even went further, didn't he? He said something like, whatever you think is the best show, RHO SLC is better.
Yeah, basically. He said its brilliance is that it's funny on purpose and by accident, it's self-aware, but also deeply unconscious, all at once.
That kind of praise, usually saved for like HBO dramas, it really legitimizes the whole thing.
And then you add someone like Michelle Obama, the former First Lady, admitting her family teases her because she loves The Housewives. She watches all of it.
Right. So this high-low appreciation shows that, okay, maybe people still feel like they need to hide their fandom a bit.
Like secret members of a very invested, very opulent cult, as one source put it.
Yeah, basically. But the critical world is definitely catching up. They see the entertainment value, sure, but also the sociological quality of this whole ecosystem.
So for our journey today, we're not starting in Potomac or Salt Lake. We're going across the pond.
To London for the massive high-stakes launch of Hayu's first original international commission, The Real Housewives of London, RHOL.
Okay, so this premiere, it just happened, August 18th, 2025. And it's a huge deal for Hayu, the streaming platform. It's their first original commission.
And they've gone big. They already locked in Katherine Ryan, the comedian, to host the reunion.
Which tells you something straight away, doesn't it? They're aiming for a wider, maybe more celebrity-focused audience, not just the hardcore fans.
Yeah, it signals ambition. And the cast itself, it looks like a deliberate mix. Some reality TV veterans, some newcomers, all meant to scream London status.
6 women. We've got Juliet Angus, Amanda Cronin, Karen Lodrick-Peace, Juliet Mayhew, Panthea Parker, and Nessie Welshinger.
And some of those names will ring bells for, dedicated viewers.
Definitely. You've got Juliet Angus, who people know from Ladies of London. That gives her an instant connection, especially for the American audience.
Right, she's got that legacy.
And Karen Lodrick-Peace, she's not new either. She was on Real Housewives of Jersey and Cheshire. So they know the game, they know the formula.
And then there's Nessie Welshinger. She was on the Great British Bake Off.
Which is such a smart move, actually. It bridges that gap between the gentle, cozy UK reality shows and the sharper edges of the Housewives world. Very clever casting.
So Hayu's official info, the synopsis they put out, they're leaning hard into wealth, obviously, but also pre-existing drama, which is always the best way to start.
Absolutely. You need that history.
Yeah.
So let's break down who's who and what they're supposed to be doing, starting with the 2 Juliets.
Okay, Juliet Angus, the veteran. She's trying to launch a jewelry brand, celebrate a 20th anniversary, but the key phrase is fractured alliances.
Right, threatening her confidence. Her storyline seems to be about rising above the drama.
Which, as we know, is exactly the wrong thing to do on these shows. You gotta be in it.
Exactly. Which leads us perfectly to Amanda Cronin, the skincare mogul. She's got the visuals, this $20 million designer house.
Wow.
And her story is about reclaiming her narrative, finding vulnerability after therapy, But the real juice is her past with Juliet Angus.
Defined by, what was it, biting comebacks and brutal honesty.
Yeah, the network even asks if she'll find peace or just more people to block. Suggests she's ready to, use that wealth and confidence as weapons.
Okay, then Karen Loderick piece, the one who's been on other UK franchises, launching a fashion label because dealing with an empty nest.
But her return to London seems complicated. There are whispered rumors, shifting alliances, especially after a big personal loss. She feels she needs to stir the pot to get clarity.
And the fans are already buzzing about how she reacts when someone questions her moving from Birmingham, right? And calling her a bulldog.
Yeah, she clearly feels like she has to fight for her place in that London elite circle. Very defensive.
Okay, who's next? The new blood.
Right, Juliet Mayhew, focusing on relaunching a singing career, business stuff. But she lands right in the gossip mill, accused of being insincere, a social climber.
And she wants a drama-free reinvention.
Which, as you said, usually means they don't quite get the assignment. Drama is the job description.
Huh. But Panthea Parker sounds like she does get it.
Oh, absolutely. Persian hospitality mixed with party girl unpredictability, known for a sharp tongue, accused of taking pleasure in spilling the tea.
Perfect. And planning a huge birthday party to show London who's really in charge. That's the energy. Assertive, territorial.
Exactly. And finally, Nessie Welshinger, the Bake Off alum. She's set up as the unshakable heart, the peacemaker, focusing on her kids' book, The Dinosaur Cookbook.
But even the peacemaker has an arc, right? Learning she sometimes has to raise your voice to be heard. Nobody escapes the drama entirely.
Not if the showrunners have anything to say about it, and the trailers definitely confirm this isn't going to be polite tea parties.
Oh, God, no. The sound bites are intense, direct accusations. You're a chronic liar and an insecure twat.
And that one, low-life mutton breast.
Yeah.
Which is creative, almost Shakespearean in its weirdness.
It's certainly memorable, and the rumors they're dropping are seriously high stakes. Not just gossip, but stuff that borders on, like legal drama.
Yeah, that moment where someone confronts another cast member about her marriages. I don't even know how many times she's been married.
And then drops that rumor. I heard you were so clever you made your ex-husband adopt your daughter. Is that not true?
Whoa. That level of personal attack, right out of the gate, that's what fuels these shows. Public questioning of very private history.
And the central conflict, it seems, is definitely that old beef between Juliet Angus and Amanda Cronin. Amanda's line about Juliet A playing a character like, my fair lady gone wrong.
That's classic reality TV meta-commentary right there, calling out the performance.
But the real threat is always about social standing, isn't it? Amanda saying, you guys are letting someone with the worst reputation in London come at me. Have some balls and pick a side.
And that statement basically sums up the whole RHOL strategy, it seems. Zero-sum game. Alliances, social destruction. Pick a side or get run over.
Okay, so the drama sounds potentially epic, but there's already some pretty sharp criticism coming out, right? About whether the show actually represents London accurately.
Yeah, that's a really important point we need to dig into. Critics are calling the details hilariously wrong.
Mainly because it's set almost entirely in, like, the poshest, most exclusive postcodes. SW1, Kensington, Chelsea, Belgravia.
Right. And for anyone listening who doesn't know London well, these areas are, they're incredibly specific. Insulated. It's a very sanitized version of extreme wealth.
Yeah, London's a huge, messy, vibrant city with so many layers. Setting it just in these bubbles where everyone's got inherited wealth or, very obvious money. It misses a trick, sociologically speaking.
Totally. As one critic said, the real London is paved with ciggy butts, mystery green slime, and stink pipes, not gold like the cast claims.
Huh. The show just seems to embrace this, overwhelming, almost delusional vibe of mad excess.
And the examples they list are pretty wild. Dogs getting facials, people installing private medical clinics in their homes.
Buckets of caviar at parties, and that line, no cost of living crisis here, which feels intentionally provocative, maybe a bit tone deaf.
Definitely seems designed to signal that disconnection. And they lean hard into the aristocracy thing too, right?
Yeah.
Constantly name-dropping royalty, talking about heritage and hierarchy.
It feels a bit much, almost hubristic. Could definitely alienate viewers who normally like the aspirational side of things.
And maybe the weirdest visual related to all this, according to the critics, was the staff situation at one of the parties.
Oh, Amanda Cronin's International Women's Day party with the housekeepers.
Yeah, an army of female housekeepers all dressed in matching pink uniforms. Critics called it unsettling. It highlights this really strange, almost theatrical class dynamic that felt uncomfortable.
So the question is, are they doing this on purpose, like deliberately creating this caricature of London wealth to play up the hubris, or did they just kind of miss the mark on what makes the U.S. shows like Salt Lake so compelling?
It feels a bit like a failure of self-awareness, maybe. The best U.S. seasons often work because the women are, striving somehow or dealing with real-world complexities, even the rich ones. This London version feels too polished, too insulated.
But even within that polished world, the drama erupts. Which brings us to the mid-season stuff, specifically Episode 6, White Witches and Warm Champagne.
Right. This episode really showed the cracks, especially around Amanda Cronin. She seems fully committed to playing the villain, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. Fans pointed out how quickly she flipped. 1 minute, she's agreeing to do the doggy thing, whatever that was, with Juliet Mayhew.
Some shared activity, yeah.
The next minute, she's ending the friendship entirely because Juliet M. was seen with Juliet Angus.
Which basically confirms that fan theory about her motto. If you're not with me, you're against me. No nuance allowed. Immediate, total loyalty required.
That's some serious strategic control. Usually takes veterans like Kyle or LVP years to perfect that kind of power play.
And then there was that bizarre white witch insult. Amanda throwing around accusations of sorcery and witchery against a Christian woman.
Only for everyone to realize she seemed to confuse the white witch from Narnia, who's the villain, with the white queen, who's good.
It's just incoherent. But ironically, that kind of messy, ridiculous drama is exactly what feeds the fandom. It's so absurd you have to talk about it.
Okay, we also need to touch on that weird fight between Panthea and a Karen Loderick piece. It felt really random, like context was missing.
Yeah, inauthentic was the word used. And when that happens, it usually means something crucial, probably about money or reputation, got left on the cutting room floor.
Fans definitely have theories. The main one seems to be that Panthea is projecting her own insecurities, maybe financial or marital ones, onto Karen.
Which would explain why she was digging for dirt about Karen's past life in Jersey. She lives for the fizz and fights, as they say.
But that conflict also brought up something more uncomfortable. We have to talk about the potential coded language.
Absolutely. Karen is a black woman, and many fans perceive her as possibly the wealthiest in the group. So when Panthea's mother calls her a bulldog, or Panthea questions her real eyes,
it feels loaded. Using animalistic language or questioning authenticity against a successful black woman, it often carries extra weight, doesn't it? It goes beyond typical housewife squabbles.
It adds a really disturbing undercurrent.
Yeah.
And the audience, they're smart. They pick up on that subtext.
Yeah.
It wasn't missed.
That's a crucial point. It's a reminder that even while we're analyzing the game and the strategy, these real-world dynamics, coded language, class issues, they're always bubbling just beneath the surface.
Okay, so let's shift gears from the, let's say, bumpy London launch back to the established players. And we have to talk about Miami. Real Housewives of Miami.
RHOM. Yeah, the consensus across the fandom seems pretty overwhelming. Miami's production is just superior right now. Sophisticated.
The sources call it fast-paced and aggressive.
Yeah.
But in a good way for creating conflict.
Right. They contrasted it with Atlanta, didn't they? Saying it might take 13 episodes in Atlanta for Portia and Drew to finally have a sit-down.
Whereas in Miami, production basically ambushed Larsa and Lisa with a sit-down in episode 2. And they were already on an international trip.
That speed, that willingness to just force the interaction, it creates instant, organic drama, doesn't it? No time for them to prep their talking points.
Exactly. It prevents the planned defenses, the rehearsed arguments, and this whole strategic approach really comes to a head at the reunion, especially with the seating chart. That's the ultimate power move from production.
Okay, let's decode Season 7's seating. The big shocker was Stephanie Shojay getting first chair right next to Andy.
Yeah, even though Julie and Gertie were arguably at the center of the season's biggest fight.
So what's the thinking there? Why Stephanie?
Well, it looks like a classic case of production rewarding quality conflict and smart maneuvering over just sheer volume of noise.
Okay, so Julia and Gertie's fight, while central, was maybe too messy.
Exactly. They got put in the seafood spots, the warning seats as fans call them. Their conflict was seen as confusing, incoherent, relying too much on little things like the water toss or that wall of texts.
So production basically said, look, that wasn't spicy enough strategically. They rewarded Stephanie and Alexia for delivering clearer, more impactful storylines. It's a message to the whole cast.
Totally. Clean, clear conflict gets the prime real estate. Confusing, exhausting drama gets you banished to the end of the sofa. It's fascinating strategy.
And speaking of strategy, Adriana and Marisol in their Friend of Purgatory.
Yes,
Whoa.
they're so self-aware about it, too. Even though they got relegated to friend status, the cruel choice, they actually said they put their own issues aside so they wouldn't overshadow the rest of the group with their abundant star power.
That's peak housewives self-awareness. Understanding the ecosystem, sacrificing your own drama for the good of the show.
Which, ironically, just makes fans love them more and cements their legacy. True pros.
Okay, so from Miami's strategic brilliance, let's jump over to Orange County. RHOC fans seem to agree it is back, delivering that classic kind of nasty fun.
Yeah, season 19 is getting huge praise. People are calling it an all-timer, saying it's up there with the best seasons like 17 and 18.
And this comeback happens right as we get these classic housewives revelations, like Tamra Judge admitting she actively tried to get Vicki Gunvalson fired.
Which is just perfect OC, isn't it? That cutthroat zero.
You also brought up something interesting about Vicki. The Vicki relatability paradox.
Right. The argument is that Vicki, counterintuitively, might be the most relatable housewife.
How does that work? Because she's so flawed.
Exactly. Because she doesn't hide her flaws. The jealousy, the paranoia, the pettiness, the hypocrisy, it's all out there.
Whereas most housewives try to keep up this polished image, Vicki just lets it all hang out.
Yeah. And apparently fans find her likable, despite those flaws, maybe even because of them.
Yeah.
Her transparency, even in her, ugliness.
Like her reactions to the stuff with her daughter Sydney or feeling left out.
It makes her feel authentically human, which is pretty rare in that world. That honesty, even when it's petty, connects more than a controlled narrative, keeps her relevant.
And speaking of relevant, she apparently reconciled with her daughter Sydney recently, which was also in the news. Good for her.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Although, still in the OC sphere, there was also that news about Gretchen Rossi getting called out for liking homophobic and transphobic posts online. So, controversy still follows that group.
Always something. Okay, let's pivot to Beverly Hills, RHOBH, which seems to have the opposite problem to OC's resurgence. Fans feel like it's stuck.
Intense autopilot. That's the phrase being used.
Yeah. Even with massive real-life stuff happening, the Kemsleys splitting up, Kyle's marriage issues, the show itself feels kind of static. Since Aspen, anyway.
Fans feel like the group is just phoning it in, like maybe the cast of Old New York or post-season 9 Atlanta. They're too guarded, maybe, not willing to actually bring their real lives onto the show anymore.
Production's obviously trying to whip up some excitement for season 15, though. We're getting teasers. Erica Jane saying she'll talk about Denise Richards.
Dorrit maybe get into talk show. And they were spotted filming in the Hamptons with Rachel Zoe, trying to bring back that aspirational, high-fashion vibe.
But maybe the biggest personal bombshell came from a former cast member, Teddy Mellencamp.
Oh, yeah, that was wild. She admitted she found out her husband, Edwin, had an affair with a mutual friend right before she started on RHOBH.
And she connected it back to her previous comments about her cancer diagnosis being payback for her own past infidelity.
That level of raw, complicated personal history, the confession, the consequences, you'd think that would inject some real energy back into Beverly Hills if current cast members were that open.
Yeah, it highlights what feels missing, maybe. Okay, speaking of production strategy, we need to discuss this trend across multiple shows. Ending the season on the cast trip. Killing the finale party.
Right. Fans hate it. It feels narratively unsatisfying, doesn't it?
Totally. The finale party used to be crucial. It was where alliances solidified or where you had that last big blowout before the reunion. Ending on the trip just leaves everything hanging.
Especially if they end right after a massive fight. The conflict is just left dangling unresolved.
So what's the metagame there? Why are they doing it?
Well, the fan theory, which makes a lot of sense from a business angle, is it's all about boosting streaming numbers. Specifically, series completion stats for platforms like Peacock.
So if the conflict is unresolved...
You have to watch the reunion to see how it plays out. It basically guarantees viewers stick around for the entire narrative arc, finale plus reunion.
Which looks good on the data reports for the streamers, even if it makes for kind of clumsy storytelling at the end of the main season.
Exactly. It's an economic strategy.
Yeah.
Even if it messes with the traditional narrative flow, data over drama resolution, maybe.
Makes sense. Okay, quick updates on crossovers and spin-offs before we move on.
Yeah, a couple of big ones. Teresa Giudice from Jersey is confirmed for Season 4 of Special Forces.
Who's she on with?
Jussie Smollett.
Wow. Okay, that's a pairing. Definitely chaotic, must-watch TV potential there.
For sure. And then the Jax Taylor and Brittany Cartwright divorce drama just keeps unfolding across Vanderpump Rules and the
That was
Founders.
unseen reunion footage.
Yeah, showing Jax fresh out of rehab,
Mm.
with Jesse apparently providing accountability. And Jax's comments are just, wow, pure calculated pettiness.
What did he say now?
Well, discussing their huge 5-bedroom, 7-bath house, he basically said, no woman needs a 5-bedroom house, 7-bath. You are a woman with a child. Get something like a 3-bedroom that's manageable as a woman.
That's just textbook undermining, controlling language disguised as financial advice. Awful.
Totally. And when asked about their expensive wedding photos, his immediate reaction wasn't sentiment. It was expensive. I'd like to have my money back from that.
Money over everything. Charming.
And finally, quick Salt Lake City note. Lisa Barlow claiming NGK stole the iconic high body count line from the gays.
Asserting that gay men are the source of all great quotes and fashion in the Bravoverse. Only Lisa Barlow.
And in the most perfectly Salt Lake moment ever, Lisa Barlow, who, let's remember, accused Mary Cosby of running a cult, presented an award with Mary Cosby at the Las Culturistas Culture Awards.
Their ability to just compartmentalize the most insane insults and accusations for the sake of staying relevant is truly something else. Superhuman, almost.
Okay, so all this chaos, from London to Miami to OC, brings us back to that metagame, the analysis of production quality and the Housewives' own social strategies.
Right. We touched on production, but let's really dig into that fan frustration with Atlanta, the desire to see them fire the production company there.
Yeah, the core criticism is that the current company's pacing and editing just sap the scene's energy. They take potentially great moments and somehow make them flat, drag them out.
And the comparison is always back to Miami, isn't it? That aggressive, fast-paced, almost documentary style that RHOM has perfected.
Exactly. It's a stark contrast. It shows how bad production, even if you have a great cast, can fundamentally kill the energy. If you have to wait 10 episodes for a confrontation, who cares anymore? The tension's gone.
Miami's production understands they need to be like the active director, pushing things along, not just passively recording.
Right. So that's the production side. The other huge area of meta-analysis is how the Housewives play the game within that framework. Fans are constantly debating who has the best social game.
Meaning who's best at navigating the conflict, controlling their narrative, and making sure they get invited back next season.
Yeah. And two names consistently come up as masters of the long-term social strategy. The first, Kyle Richards.
Okay, why Kyle?
Her game is seen as top tier because she manages to stay influential. Everyone wants to be her friend, which lets her orchestrate things from behind the scenes. She rarely gets her hands truly dirty.
And the ultimate proof, according to the sources, that she successfully ran LVP off the show.
Which takes years of subtle work, right? Building alliances, creating a united front against a powerful figure, all while maintaining this air of relative innocence. She controls the structure without looking like the main aggressor. Masterful, in a way.
Okay, so Kyle's one master. Who's the other?
Heather Dubrow. Her game is all about strategic separation. She plays neutral, stays out of the direct line of fire.
She's good at that.
And she knows how to weaponize words or information, drop a little seed, but then she lets someone else launch the actual attack.
Okay, give an example. The sources mention one specifically, right?
Oh.
About Katie's custody issues.
Yes. This is a perfect, chilling example of her strategy. Heather apparently knew not to directly attack Katie about something so sensitive like custody.
So she let Emily do it.
Exactly. Emily led the charge, making Emily the aggressor in that specific fight. But then, and this is the really telling part, during a break in the reunion taping, Heather reportedly went over to Katie and acted concerned, checked on her.
Whoa. Playing the sympathetic friend to the victim?
While her ally delivered the strategic blow, it's textbook manipulation. It ensures her relationship with Emily stays intact, and she looked like a good guy to the rest of the cast, surviving the fallout completely unscathed. Genius-level social game.
Okay, understanding that level of strategy completely changes how you watch the show, doesn't it? It's not just random screaming.
Not at all. So if Kyle and Heather are the masters, who fails? Who has the worst social game, according to fans?
Leanne Locken came up from Dallas, and Candiace Dillard Bassett from Potomac.
Right. Leanne's issue was often her emotional volatility. She'd say things that were just impossible to come back from, no matter how she tried to spin it later.
And Candiace, she's incredibly witty, sharp.
But that sharp tongue often cuts too deep, alienates potential allies. She goes for the immediate verbal win, maybe sacrificing longer-term support in the group. It's a different strategy, but often less effective season over season.
So the whole point of this deep dive, really understanding production tricks, reunion seating, ending on trips, analyzing the social games, it's about shifting how you, the listener, watch these shows.
Yeah, moving beyond just passive entertainment, you start seeing how the drama is built, how it's engineered by the producers and by the women themselves.
Huh.
It becomes this advanced study in human behavior under intense pressure.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The ambitious but maybe flawed launch of RHOL with its very specific kind of snobby London chaos.
We've looked at Miami's production dominance and the endless complexity of the veteran housewives games, from Vicky's messy relatability to Kyle and Heather's almost scary strategic control.
And we know, the sources acknowledge this, that a lot of the appeal is just enjoying the spectacle, right? The judgment, watching people get their comeuppance.
Sure, that's part of it. But maybe the real value, the actual rich text here, isn't just the drama itself, but the study of strategic communication, how social capital is won and lost.
So the final thought for you listening. Next time you tune in, yeah, enjoy the fights, the crazy insults, but maybe look a little deeper. Ask yourself, are you just being entertained by the conflict? Or are you starting to critically analyze whose social game is actually strong enough to survive another season?
And whose is about to make that fatal mistake that lands them right back in friend of purgatory.